Better late than never, right? Welcome to the, let's call it, fashionably late July manga buyer's guide, where, as always, I guide you through a bunch of new notable manga releases throughout this current month. Now, first off, the big question would be, why is this so late? Well, essentially, the 4th of July is my birthday, and I decided that I would take that entire preceding weekend off to just relax and do whatever I wanted. I thought it was a great idea at the time. It turned out to not be a great idea, because now here we are with this video that I would have filmed that weekend and gotten prepared to release on like the 4th or 5th. We're sitting here now releasing it 2 weeks later. But I'm not going to skip a month. I'm going to still be talking y'all through these notable new releases. And on that, what do I mean when I say notable new release? A notable new release to me is something not like, volume 23 of the popular ongoing shonen manga, but I'm talking about like new volume 1s, special editions, all-in-one series, final volumes, box sets, stuff like that, because there are so many new manga that come out every month that it's very easy to let something just slide right under your radar that you might otherwise have enjoyed. And that's why I make these videos, because not only for you, the viewer, but for me as well. I wind up doing research on all these new releases and finding a handful of things every month that I otherwise wouldn't have picked up that I wind up really enjoying. So on that note, if you're on Twitter, follow me at OmniCollector. And if you pick up anything because I mention it in this video, when you get that book, tag me and go ahead and tag the publisher as well to let them know that you picked it up because you heard me talking about it in one of these videos. It would go a long way and really help me out. And then really quick, I always mention, I'm giving you the official street dates for these books. There are things that are released early, there are things that get delayed, but as of now, the time that I'm filming this, these are the official dates that these books have. So let's go ahead and get on into it with the new books from the 5th, starting off with The Elusive Samurai from Viz Media in the Shonen Jump line. Now, of course, I pick up every Shonen Jump manga. I own every volume of every series that's in Viz Media's Shonen Jump line. So I was going to pick this one up, but I really do enjoy this series immensely. It's such a fun title. It comes from the same creator as Assassination Classroom, but it's a very different series than Assassination Classroom. It's a historical fiction series. It's based around factual characters, but they are highly fictionalized for entertainment purposes. It's set in historical Japan, and it's about a young prince whose family is slaughtered, and basically he runs away so that he can try and regroup and regain his rightful place as the heir of the throne with the help of a handful of loyal retainers. The series started up about a year ago or so in the Weekly Shonen Jump magazine, and I have been really enjoying it since then. Actually, I didn't enjoy it at first, and then I went back and I reread the first chunk of like 8 chapters all at once, and I really loved it, and now it's one of my favorites that's in the magazine. It has absolutely beautiful artwork, and if any of the stuff that I said about the series is intriguing to you, then definitely check out Volume 1 of The Elusive Samurai. Next up we have Go For It Again, Nakamura. This is the sequel to the previous Nakamura book. If you're unfamiliar, basically Nakamura is a high schooler that has a crush on his classmate Hirose, and it's just his misadventures in that affair, basically. They're both single volume releases, so it's not any sort of commitment. It's very easy to just pick up the first one and pick up the second one. So yeah, if you haven't tried it out yet, go ahead and try it out. Next up we have Studio Apartment, Good Lighting, Angel Included from Yen Press. This one's from the same creator of As Miss Beelzebub Likes. It's an innocent romantic comedy about a high schooler who lives alone in an apartment, and he encounters a pure and kind girl on his balcony who may not be all that she seems. And then finally we have a delayed book from last month, I believe. The Girl I Saved on the Train turned out to be my childhood friend. Moving into the 12th, we've got a lot of cool stuff. First up from Drawn and Quarterly is Talk to My Back. This is a single volume drama about a middle-class woman living in an apartment complex on the outskirts of Tokyo and her relationships with her maturing daughters as well as her husband, who's been having an affair recently. The book is kind of a critique on the false promises of eternal satisfaction through the nuclear family. Drawn and Quarterly publishes a lot of really cool stuff, and they actually had a sale on their site recently. I don't know if the sale is still going on by the time that I post this, but check out their site nonetheless to see a lot of the other really cool stuff that they put out there. I'm really looking forward to this one. I did order it myself. It's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to checking it out. Next up, another one that I'm really looking forward to is Box of Light from Seven Seas. This is another single volume manga about a convenience store that exists on the boundary between life and death. That just sounds interesting, compelling, funny altogether, something that I would definitely take interest in. So I haven't ordered that one yet. It is currently available, and I will be ordering it soon. Next up, we have Magical Explorer Volume 1 from Yen Press. This one is a harem, and it is an isekai series, so if you're a fan of either of those, this might be for you. Essentially, the main character is reincarnated as an unlucky side character, and he must use his knowledge of the game and cheats for the game in order to win over the heroines. Next up, we have Perfect World Volume 12, which is the final volume of this popular slice of life drama series. If you've been following this one, then you get to see how this concludes in this final volume. If you haven't been following it yet, then it's the perfect time to pick up the series so you can just binge through the entire thing. I actually recently picked up the first volume from someone, and I'm looking forward to checking it out so I can decide whether or not I want to read the rest of the series. Next up, we have Correspondence from the End of the Universe, which actually sounds hilarious. A Russian university student is abducted by aliens, and they give him a 10-year mission. He decides to make the most of it and get to know his alien co-workers. So basically an office comedy with a sci-fi twist. Sounds pretty funny. I might try that one out. And then we have a whole just gaggle of delayed books from previous months. Shadow's House, Nights with a Cat, Chitose in the Ramune Bottle, The Girl from the Other Side hardcover volume 1, the 6th and final fairy tale box set, and Daughter of the Emperor, which I think has been delayed like from 3 months prior. Moving on to the third week, the 19th, first up we have I'll Never Be Your Crown Princess. This one has a modern Japanese woman who's reincarnated as the daughter of a duke in a fantasy world. She's engaged to marry a handsome crown prince, but she doesn't want to join their polygamous royal family, and she finds out that the prince can only marry a virgin, so she decides to lose her virginity at a masquerade ball so she doesn't have to marry him. However, the masked man that she takes interest in actually winds up being the prince himself, so a little bit of a twist there. Next up from Seven Seas, we have Dungeon People Volume 1. This is about a girl named Clay whose father trained her to be part of a thieves guild, but then he went missing, and now she's using everything she learned to try and find him within this dungeon. She goes deeper than anyone else ever has, and she winds up finding the caretaker of the dungeon who invites her to join their staff, and she starts learning the ins and outs of the dungeon itself. It sounds like a really fun series. I'm definitely going to try this one out. I feel like it's another series that kind of turns the whole dungeon subgenre of storytelling on its head, similar to something like Delicious in Dungeon. So I'm looking forward to this one, seeing how it is. Hopefully I can pick it up pretty soon. Next up we have Hi, I'm a witch and my crush wants me to make a love potion. It's another one that's like title pretty much gives you everything you need to know, but basically there's a witch who has a crush on someone. That someone comes and asks her to make him a love potion, and she starts sending him on a wild goose chase of various errands to pick up different things that she would need, different ingredients that she would need to make this love potion, so that she can basically start spending more time with her. But then he starts coming around more often to take care of her. So what's going to happen from there? Next up is one that I'm really looking forward to, and that is Sino Alice Volume 1. This is a new horror manga from Square Enix about a normal girl named Alice who's living a pretty normal life. However, she has these really weird dreams about these creepy marionettes who are pulling her into this dark, twisted fantasy universe where she winds up getting sucked into this game of slaughter of fairy tale heroines who are trying to bring their creators back to life. Sounds weird, creepy, right up my alley. I cannot wait to try that one out. And then we end that week with 2 delayed books. First up, the popular BL thriller manhwa, Killing Stalking. I've already seen the first volume available at Barnes & Noble locations, so that's not getting delayed further. And then the second one has been delayed several times, and that is Bomba from Osamu Tezuka. Hopefully this is the final time it's delayed. It will finally come out, but we've yet to see. Fingers crossed. Moving on to the 26th, the final week of the month, we get, first up, Berserk the Deluxe Edition Volume 11, which there's nothing particular about that volume that's notable, but I did want to mention Berserk here just to say that it is back. After over a year of waiting since Miura's death, we know that the series is now back. It had 2 new chapters in the pages of the most recent Young Animal magazine. I'm not going to go into detail about what's going on with that and the circumstances behind the return, so you can look that up yourself, but I just did want to mention that it's back. And also, the 13th hardcover has been solicited, so we know that that's going to include volumes 37, 38, and 39 of the series. And so then a 14th would pretty much be confirmed to include volumes 40, 41, and 42 eventually. The reason I wanted to mention that in particular is because previously I'd mentioned, I don't remember if I mentioned it here, but I've mentioned it other places, that I feel it would have been nice to include the guidebook in these hardcovers, and the 13th would have been the perfect place to put that because the guidebook actually covers through volume 38 of the manga. So they could have done 37, 38 in the guidebook, but they did not do that. So anyway, enough about Berserk. Next up we have the Po Clan hardcover volume 2 from Moto Hagio. I wasn't a big fan of the first volume. I did get it back when it came out. I read it and thought it was okay, but I know a lot of people who love this series and have been greatly anticipating this second volume, and I'm so happy for y'all to finally be able to wrap this one up. Next up we have Yuri Espoir. This is a Tokyo Pop Yuri school romance series about a young girl who finds out that she is basically, once she graduates from high school, she's going to be forced into a marriage of convenience, and so she decides to embrace her love of women by taking a sketchbook around town and looking at the various lesbian romances that are happening around her, as well as taking down observations of the women around town. Next up we have World End Solte, and this comes from the same creator as Spirit Circle and Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer, so if you're a fan of either of those series or both of them, you might want to pick this one up, but it does have an interesting premise itself anyway. Essentially, the world has been ravaged by a war that has left pollution everywhere, but this pollution impacts space and time. A young girl named Solte is orphaned because her parents were people who were trying to basically clean up this strange pollution off the planet, and she starts to take in her parents' footsteps to explore this pollution, but instead of cleaning it up, she wants to venture inside of it so she can see what's on the other side. Sounds like a really interesting premise. I cannot wait to pick this one up. Next up is The Tunnel to Summer, The Exit of Goodbyes, Ultramarine Volume 1. I believe this is based on a novel or a light novel, though the light novel does not have ultramarine at the end, so I don't know if it's the exact same. Basically, there's a tunnel that exists outside of space and time. If you go through it, then you can find your greatest desire on the other side. The main character wants to, when he goes through, he thinks about his sister that he had lost in an accident about 5 years ago, and then another character comes in who wants to help him in figuring out how to, utilize the tunnel essentially, but she might have her own ulterior motives. After this, we have Sakurai-san Wants to Be Noticed. The series follows a laid-back high schooler who wants to just lay low, but his friend Sakurai won't let him do that and keeps pulling him into various situations and flirting with him, but he can't tell if she actually has a crush on him or not. So let's see what happens, I guess. Next up we have Pulse Volume 1 from 7 Seas. This is another Yuri romance series. This one's about a heart surgeon who views her flings with other women only as tools for her own pleasure until she meets Lynn, a patient of hers who refuses a heart transplant. Two become entwined in a relationship that changes everything for them both. This is from the same creator as Soul Drifters and Lily Love. And then we end the month on 2 really big, really hyped, really exciting releases. Number 1, 7 Seas physical release for Tokyo Revengers. This 2-in-1 volume was supposed to come out in May, but it was delayed because there was so much interest in the series, so much hype around it that I believe they delayed it because they needed to print more volumes, essentially. They had to order a larger printing. Collects the first 2 volumes of the series. There is going to be a variant cover released at Barnes & Noble's, so if you want to get both of those, you can find the second one at your local Barnes & Noble location. So that it is a 2-in-1, that's why it has the higher $22.99 price point. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. I have not read the series myself, but so many people whose opinions I trust, who have similar taste in manga and anime as I do, enjoy this one, so I'm looking forward to picking it up for myself to finally try it out. And then we end this on The Liminal Zone, a new book from Junji Ito from Viz Media. New Junji Ito is always a good thing. I'm very excited to try this one out. This is 4 new short stories, and I believe that these are actually from the time around the beginning of the pandemic was when he published these. I'm not absolutely sure on that, but I feel like I had heard that somewhere. Anyway, new Ito is always good. I'm excited about that. And that ends July. That ends everything that we've got, all the notable releases for July. I'm excited about a lot of stuff. Obviously, I was excited about Elusive Samurai. From the second week, I've already picked up Talk to My Back. I'm going to be ordering Box of Light, and there are a couple of other things I'm excited about there. And then the third week, Dungeon People, Sino Alice, Killing Stalking, and Bomba. And then finally, in the last week, Berserk, World End Solte. And I might get the Tunnel to Summer. I'm not absolutely sure, but definitely Tokyo Revengers and the Liminal Zone. So let me know in the comments down below what you are most excited about to pick up from this month, and I promise that for August I will not have my video be delayed as much as I did this time. Again, I apologize for that, but thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for spending time with me. If this video is something that you found helpful and you're not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It would help me out quite a bit. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you all on the next one. Peace out.